Okay, so in the book of Genesis, there is one of the most intense family rivalries you will ever read. Seriously. It's a story about two sisters, one husband, in this bitter, relentless competition that, believe it or not, ends up laying the foundation for an entire nation. This is the wild origin story of the 12 tribes of Israel.
So at the very heart of all this are two sisters, Leah and Rachel, and they're both married to the same guy, Jacob. Talk about complicated. But their lives are polar opposites. Jacob is deeply in love with Rachel, but she can't have children. He doesn't love Leah, but she's incredibly fertile. It's this painful, tragic imbalance that creates a perfect storm for jealousy, suffering, and some serious family drama.
And right out of the gate, the story brings in a divine element. The text tells us that God sees Leah's situation, sees how unloved and miserable she is, and steps in. He enables her to conceive. Now, this isn't just about giving her a child. This one act basically lights the fuse on the whole rivalry and kicks off this cascade of births that's going to define everything.
And just like that, it starts. Leah gets pregnant, and she has her first son, Reuben. But you got to understand, for Leah, this isn't just a happy moment. This is a strategic move. It's a desperate play for her husband's love, and she makes that crystal clear with the name she gives him.
I mean, listen to that. It is absolutely heartbreaking. You can just feel her pain, right? Her focus is entirely on her husband. She's not just celebrating a baby. She's desperately hoping this little boy will finally be the thing that makes Jacob love her.
So the name itself is basically a permanent reminder of her suffering. Reuben literally means, "He has seen my misery." Think about that. Every single time someone says his name, it's an echo of the pain Leah was in when he was born.
But, as you might guess, one son doesn't fix the problem. Soon enough, Leah has another son, Simeon. And you'd think, okay, maybe now she's a little happier. Nope, not at all. Her focus is still laser sharp on what she doesn't have.
And once again, the name tells you everything you need to know. Simeon comes from the Hebrew word for heard. So first she felt unseen, now she feels unheard. Even with two sons, her husband's love is completely out of reach, and she's still just as miserable.
So she keeps going. She has two more sons, one right after the other. With the third, Levi, she's still hoping Jacob will finally get attached to her. But it's with her fourth son, Judah, that something inside Leah just shifts.
And this right here? This is a huge turning point in the story. After 4 sons, 4 attempts to win her husband's love, her focus finally changes. She names this son Judah, which means praise. She's basically saying, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to praise God. And right after that, we're told she stopped having children for a while.
Okay, so while all of this is going on with Leah, let's not forget about Rachel, and she is in absolute agony. While her sister is having son after son, Rachel's desperation just boils over. She actually confronts Jacob and cries out, "Give me children or I'll die." She literally equates her childlessness with death.
So what's her plan? Well, since she can't conceive herself, she goes with a pretty common practice for the time, surrogacy. She gives her servant, Bilhah, to Jacob to have children on her behalf. This is her big counterpunch to Leah's fertility. And when Bilhah has 2 sons, Rachel names them. And oh, the names she picks, they are all about the rivalry. She names the first one Dan, which means he has vindicated me, like God is finally on her side. The second one, Naphtali, and she says it outright. I have had a great struggle with my sister and I have won. She's not even trying to be subtle about it. Now Leah sees this. She sees her sister's new tactic, and she realizes that she's stopped having kids herself. So what does she do? She thinks, oh, no way, I am not falling behind. The competition just kicks into another gear. She decides to fight fire with fire. So Leah gives her servant, Zilpah, to Jacob. And Zilpah has 2 sons. Now Leah's names are a little different. Gad for good fortune, and Asher for happy. They're more positive than Rachel's combative names for sure, but make no mistake, this is still 100% about the rivalry.
All right, so let's just pause for a second and check the scoreboard here. You've got Team Leah, which now includes her servant Zilpah, and she is way out in front with 6 sons. Team Rachel, on the other hand, is trailing with just 2. You can just imagine the tension. It must have been off the charts.
And just when you think the story can't get any weirder, it does. The conflict comes to a head over mandrakes. Yeah, mandrakes. These were plants that, in the ancient world, people believed could act as a kind of fertility charm.
So when Rachel asks for some of the mandrakes that Leah's son found, all of Leah's pent-up resentment just explodes. That one line says it all, doesn't it? You took my husband. In her mind, it's that simple. It leads to this incredibly tense negotiation where Rachel actually trades a night with their husband, Jacob, just to get these plants.
But get this, and this is the ultimate irony. Rachel makes this bargain for the mandrakes, hoping they'll help her conceive. But the plan totally backfires. The deal ends with Leah sleeping with Jacob, and it's Leah who gets pregnant again. Not just once, but twice. She has Issachar, calling him her reward, and then Zebulun, hoping for honor.
So after all of this time, after all of the jealousy, the schemes, the desperation, the focus of the story suddenly swings back. It pivots dramatically to the beloved but childless wife. And the text puts it so simply but so powerfully. Then God remembered Rachel.
And there it is. Finally, it happens. Her prayers are answered, God opens her womb, and Rachel gives birth to a son of her very own. She names him Joseph, a name that, let me tell you, is going to become hugely important later on in Genesis.
Her reaction is so revealing. First, you hear this profound sense of relief. She feels like her disgrace is finally gone. But then, in the very next breath, she's already asking for another son. Even in her moment of triumph, the competition isn't over. The desire to catch up to her sister is still there.
So when you look at this family tree, you're seeing the final score. With the birth of Joseph and later Benjamin, the 12 sons are all accounted for. And every single one of them was born out of this complicated, dramatic, and bitter family feud between 4 different mothers.
And that, right there, is the crucial takeaway. The origin story of the nation of Israel is not some peaceful, harmonious tale. It's born from raw jealousy, from pain, and from human competition. It's messy, it's dysfunctional, and you know what? It's profoundly and deeply relatable.
And this really leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. This story shows how something so vast, so historic, an entire nation, can grow from the most personal and painful human emotions. It really makes you wonder, what other great foundations in our world, what other parts of our history are built not on grand ideals, but on something as simple and as powerful as human rivalry?